Now, this is an intriguing one. Pick 20, Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people had got Pittsburgh maybe being the first team to have a sniff at a quarterback. They brought in Mitch Trubisky. Obviously, the tragic passing of Dwayne Haskins.
And they've brought in another quarterback since then as well.
I'll bring up their depth chart there. And Mason Rudolph is still there. So it's a pretty full room, you'd think.
Yeah, it's a full room of
of mediocre kind of guys.
And hoping one of them, takes the step to being your future. But, yeah, my needs for them, I had quarterback, offensive line, cornerback, and safety. So I had Booth and Orsine going here for them in the secondary space. I do like George Karlaftis, I think is how you say his name.
I did have a look at this guy's name before. I thought both of us might struggle with it.
I couldn't find a pronunciation.
Karlaftis out of Purdue. That's what I'm going to go with.
He reminds me of a Steelers Ravens type player playing on the end, and maybe pair him with that. It's not really a need though for the Steelers defense.
Karlaftis. That sounds Greek. I think that might be Greek origin.
Yeah, he's good. Secondary. Maybe they pick a quarterback. I hope they don't. I don't think that's the right spot.
We're about to find out.
20 deep, I think they shouldn't.
We're about to find out. Roger Goodell is on the stand. The 20th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers go with...
He's going to hand it off here in a second.
Drum roll, please. Because Roger is waffling and he's passed it on... Obviously, we're watching this with no sound. Do you know who that is?
He was always here. He's one of the defensive ends, tackles. He played on the line. He's Hall of Famer. We should know this.
Again, we didn't really watch. Franco Harris. He was
fullback.
He was a fullback. Yeah.
He always does Steelers selections, so we should know this by now.
Yeah. Also, we didn't know what this sport was.
Oh,
there it is. There it is,
wow.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Kenny motherfucking Pickett.
We've got a quarterback.
First
the Pittsburgh Steelers fans seem to be pretty happy about it. Obviously played at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, probably going to sit the year behind Trubisky, you'd think, but we'll have to see how that plays out. So,
bring up your notes on Kenny Pickett. I'm going to bring up his production at Pitt. Now, obviously,
elite production.
Yeah, they don't play in the strongest area in college football, but his numbers were insane. Off the top of my head, something like 46 touchdowns, 9 picks. I'll get a confirmation on that.
It was 40-something touchdowns and 7 picks, I think, last year, because they sang that early on the pre-draft. Anyway,
I'll bring that up.
Over 40, below 10, which is elite numbers.
Fucking oath.
He's very happy to go to Steelers. I think he'd be happy to go to... where's Pitt?
It's Pittsburgh.
Yeah. It's another one stays home. One stays home. That's what I thought. I was like, Pitt sounds like Pittsburgh. So I don't know. My geography of US college teams in states is not the best.
Not the best. No.
Well, here you go. School records: 12,000 plus yards, 81 touchdowns at Pitt there. So school records, and that's.
Last year, 42 touchdowns, 7 intercepts, 4,319 yards, completed at 67%. They are elite numbers. Now, does the opposition, these aren't SEC numbers, these aren't Pac-12 numbers, does that kind of play into your mind? Or
they had the comparison there of Matt Hasselbeck there. And I was like,
interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Would you be sending a first round pick on Matt Hasselbeck? Depends on what year you're getting.
Went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was
Sean Alexander.
an elite year out of Sean Alexander.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It depends on what year you're getting Hasselbeck. But Hasselbeck played in the league for donkey's years, so might not have been into the top 10 as an elite guy, but definitely very, very serviceable. And then maybe that's what you need at Pittsburgh. You're going to rely on that defense, and hopefully your offense just does just enough. So notes, Kenny Pickett, 6'3", 217. The biggest concern from the combine numbers was, one, his arm length. No one really talked about it. It was only just over just under 31 inches, which is a bit small for a guy at 6'3".
Are you concerned that much about quarterback arm length? Hand size for me would be more of an issue.
It potentially, just because where you high point and release the ball. Yeah. But then, short quarterbacks are doing fine in the league. It's
Russell Wilson we just spoke about.
Yeah, exactly. The red Rick's not as what it used to be. Hand size is probably the biggest one.
That's what I had heard.
8.5 inches would be the smallest by any starter in the NFL if he plays.
Okay. So there's a legitimate concern.
I think no one in the last 4 years had started. Kansas City trade up. They're getting a wide receiver. Had started in the last 4 years with under 9 inches for a quarterback.
And what was the official measurement? 8.5.
8.5, and he was 8 and 5/8 at his pro day. So he'd been doing
8 and 5/8.
Like we're saying, they measure it like this. So he'd been doing some stretches. Get to 9 inches.
Just dislocate that finger and get it out there.
Yeah. So the concern, I wouldn't be too worried about the hand length. But then when you watch him play, wearing the 2 gloves, and I think if Peyton Manning wearing gloves and like he needed to wear gloves for extra grip, potentially
later in his career.
Later, of course, in his career post a neck surgery. Because, he didn't have enough feeling in his hand, so he needed more grip. So do I think potentially that's what Kenny was doing? That's my concern, of course, watching it. But otherwise, good clean drop back, good nice compact motion, little wind up and little F in his flow. He's a nice little flick, like releases the ball well. He's an above average athlete. Probably not going to need much in the NFL. I don't think you're going to be wanting Kenny Pickett to be running around too much.
Hitting the fake slide.
Yeah, exactly. Decent velocity. He's very comfortable throwing over the middle, which is very impressive, which is what I really liked about Mac Jones last year, is throwing across the middle, because a lot of the guys will just throw outside or do dump-offs because it's easier to protect your production and get less intercepts doing that. Across the middle is where you got to make more decisions, do more reads. So I love that. Maybe pull that down a bit more than I'd like and move out of the pocket than he should. So he might need to learn to stay in the pocket a bit more. A lot of under 10 yards kind of throws with the occasional shot downfield. So a lot of crossing routes across the field. But he does look to go through his reads, makes good decisions, can pick up the blitz, throws into tight windows with nice touch, good ball position, throws very catchable balls, good accuracy. So a lot of the things. My point here, I think he was more athletic Mac Jones, but maybe not as polished as a passer. That was my comparison. Very confident thrower. Let's see what he can do at Pittsburgh.
Did finish third in the Heisman Trophy, and we were speaking about Pittsburgh being in the ACC. Just having a look at some of their opposition, like that. The ACC aren't chumps.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not the SEC. It's not the Pac-12. But you're still going up against Boston College. You're still going up against Florida State. You're still going up against North Carolina State, Louisville.
You got to beat what's put in front of you. And if you dominate that, then it kind of just shows where
Miami, like they went 11-2 in. Look, not the strongest division in football, but definitely a top 5 division in college football.